What's up, guys? Thanks for tuning in. This week we wanted to make a video that's a little bit different and show you guys some stuff that we have picked up over the last year and a half living full-time in our RV that we consider absolute must-haves if you're going to live in an RV full-time. Some of these are even things that even if you're not living full-time in an RV, if you just take weekend trips or long vacations, these are some things you might want to pick up as well. So not strictly for full-time, but if you are full-time, these things are going to make your life incredibly easier.
Yep, and some of these items we picked up from the very beginning and others we've picked up along the way. So hopefully something that we tell you might help you out.
So we want to show you guys the 12 items that we have purchased that we consider absolute must-haves.
And I think one of the most important things is a big enough dehumidifier.
Yeah, absolutely. Dehumidifier is probably, now these aren't really in any particular order, but if we had to put them in order, the dehumidifier would 100% be at the very top of the list, especially if you live in humid climates like we were down in Florida. You know, humidity will wreak havoc inside your RV, so having a dehumidifier is critical.
We've heard a lot of people complaining about condensation in their RVs, and we can happily report that we've never had that problem. And some people might think the size of dehumidifier for the size of our rig is a little overkill, but we definitely think it justifies the space it takes up.
Yeah, it is overkill. It's a dehumidifier that the Amazon description says it is good for like 3,000 square feet. So it's a 50-pint dehumidifier. It's huge. It works great. You do kind of have to have an area that you want to designate to leave it because it is a little bit bigger, takes up a little more space. But we can let this thing run. If we're set up somewhere for 3 or 4 days, even in Florida, we can usually let it run and we only have to dump it one time. So it's got an automatic shut-off so it won't overfill. But typically we're moving before it's even close to being full, so it holds a tremendous amount of water, and it's shocking how much water this thing will pull out of the air inside your rig. So this is the Vremi 50-pint dehumidifier, rated for large spaces and basements. Well, we don't have necessarily a large space, but it's got a bunch of automatic settings here on top. You can set the humidity level you want. You can use a comfort setting that will basically adjust the humidity based on the ambient air temperature to keep the humidity where it needs to be. For example, right now we are at 42% humidity. We typically keep it right there in that corner. So the next item, if you're a coffee drinker, this is definitely a must-have, and that is a French press. We have talked about our French press in the past. We've done a video on it, so I'll leave a link above to our French press video. But definitely if you drink coffee and you live in an RV and you're going to be camping out where you might be boondocking, where you might not have power, then the French press is awesome. You can heat your water up around the stove and then you got coffee. So it does a great job. Doesn't take up hardly any counter space. You can put it away when it's not in use. So we love our French press. Kind of something that goes with the French press but is a separate item is our electric kettle. The electric kettle works perfect for heating up the water to go into the French press to make your coffee. But not only that, you're going to save a ton of propane, because if you're trying to boil water when you're cooking or something like that, you're going to be able to heat that water up, pour it in, and not have to waste a bunch of propane trying to heat up water if you're trying to boil something on the stove. So I didn't think we'd get that much use out of it. We bought it primarily for coffee, but after having it, we use that thing quite a bit. Moving around the counter. So as you can see, some of this stuff does take up counter space, but you know, we don't have a lot of counter space to give up, so whatever we have up here is going to be stuff that we think is very valuable because this counter space is valuable. Next thing is our countertop ice maker. You will absolutely go broke trying to buy bagged ice. Buying bagged ice is not a good option. So we will run our ice maker. We'll bag the ice up in gallon baggies and we'll stick it in the freezer. I know some RVs have an ice maker in the door. That's awesome, or it does not. So we went with the countertop ice maker. This is our second one. So the first one we had lasted about a year and a half, and we use these things all the time. I mean, they get heavy use. So we did have to replace it once, but the cost of this thing was right around $100. So I mean, if I can get a year and a half out of it and it's only going to cost me $100, I'm pretty happy. I got more than $100 worth of ice out of that thing, so we're pretty happy with it. We've had this one now for probably about 8 or 9 months, and it's been fantastic. So this brings us around to the other side of the counter. This is our Berkey water filter. Again, buying bottled water, not a good option. Number one, you have to have a place to store bottled water. You have to have the refrigerator space to store the bottled water. That's something that we don't have a lot of, so we went with the Berkey. We did not intend to get this big of a Berkey. We actually ordered the 1.5 gallon travel model, and it was out of stock. So they upgraded us to the big Berkey, which is 2.25 gallons, which normally is awesome, but this definitely takes up a lot more space. But now that we've had it for a while, you know, we love it, and we're glad we have that extra capacity. It is big, so you know, you can see it barely fits under the counter. So fortunately it does. We keep it back there out of the way. The way we travel with this is we'll put it in the sink, we'll take the top piece off and put it beside it, and then by the time we put our dish strainer and put the stuff off the counter that we put in the sink during travel, it kind of holds everything together. We'll cover the top with saran wrap to keep the water from sloshing out. So if it's got half full or more water, we'll go ahead and just put like 3 pieces of saran wrap over it to seal it up so that the water doesn't slosh out during travel. And that's worked out really well for us. Been very happy with it.
Okay, another item is a good vacuum. So one that doesn't take up a lot of space and one that has a part that detaches from it. A handheld vacuum was ideal, so we found the Bissell Power Lifter, and it's worked really well, and it has the detachable handheld, and it comes with some attachments that you can use to get into crevices and small corners, and it's really easy to empty, so this was a good choice for us.
Yeah, so cordless, rechargeable. It's got a charging port here on the back, so you just plug the charger cord into it. You can hang it on the wall, keep it out of the way if you would like, and it also folds up. So you can also fold that down, and as you can see, it's pretty lightweight. It can definitely get pretty compact for you if you need to put this thing up out of the way, and it's worked very well for us.
Another must-have for us was a portable washer with a spin dryer. Our RV did not come with hookups for a washer and dryer, and we were not trying to go to the laundromat all the time, spend all that time in a laundromat and all that money. So for $100 or around $100, you can get a portable washer. One little side is the washer, one side is the spin dryer, and we've got a whole video on that. And I mean, when we're traveling, we keep it stored here in the shower, and then when we need to use the shower, we simply set it outside of the shower. And we have a whole video on how this works. We'll link that also. And another item that we considered very important, it's a space saver, are the Turkish towels. We heard a lot about them. We looked into them to see what they were because we had not heard about them previously, and they're really thin. They fold down nicely. You can use them as beach towels. You can use them as bath towels, and they don't take up a lot of space, and they dry really quickly.
Alright, the next item that we considered a must-have, we actually considered it a must-have for our weekend camping trips, even before we got the fifth wheel, and we brought it over with us with the fifth wheel. Absolutely love it, use it all the time. That's the Blackstone griddle. So this is a 17-inch model, and as you can see, it fits absolutely perfect right up in this little storage compartment. I got the cover that goes over it, so we just leave this thing sitting right here. Rides perfect. Got all my accessories for a Blackstone back here on the side. Absolute must-have for any kind of outdoor cooking. A little tip I'll give you on this is the 17-inch model actually fits right inside a standard campsite grill. So if you take the grate on your campsite grill and lower it all the way down, your Blackstone will sit right down in there perfect, and it provides a little wind blocker. The only downside to the Blackstone is the fact that if it's windy, wind gets in between the actual cooking surface and the bottom where the flame is, and it can blow all your heat away from there. So using it in the wind is very difficult, but if you put it inside your the grill at your campsite, then that provides a little wind block and it works perfect. The next two items are put away and very well stored for right now, since we're not using them anytime in the near future, but that is a generator and our portable solar panels. This is the Renji 200 watt foldable solar panel. So it'll fold up, and it comes with a nice hard cover case to keep it in so it doesn't get damaged. 200 watts of solar. In full sun, this thing will put out about 13 amps. So if we're in a spot where we can't run the generator or don't want to run the generator and can get this thing in full sun, 13 amps is enough to go ahead and start recharging those batteries. And once it folds up, it's only about 3 or 4 inches thick inside the case. Goes right into the basement storage, nice and neat. And being inside that case, you can put chairs and things on top of it, and you're not going to damage the panel. And that's the Predator 3500 generator. You know, Harbor Freight gets a bad rap for a lot of things, but I will say that this generator has been outstanding. We've got 125 hours on it. With this generator, we can run one of our air conditioners. It'll run our microwave. It'll even run the convection oven. We don't do that because it puts such a strain on the generator that it really burns a lot of fuel. But it'll run it. So I'll leave a link to a full video that we did on the generator and solar panel setup that we use. The solar panels, absolutely love having portable solar panels. If you're parked somewhere where you're in the shade, or if you got trees blocking the sun, you can move those things around, get them out in the sun, and get some charge back in your batteries. Last but certainly not least, this should actually be up at the top, right by the dehumidifier. But the last thing we have to show you guys is our surge protector. So absolute must-have, good surge protector. This is the Progressive Industries EMS PT50X. You can see on the front, it has your display with your readout. Shows you how much amperage you're pulling, and then it'll also show you the line voltage, and then it'll flash if there's any error codes. Ours should say E0 because we're good to go. And E0. So they also give you on the side, they give you a list of all the different error codes. We actually did have one of these fail on us. We started getting the E10 code, which was basically a code to contact customer support. All they had me do was send them pictures of the receptacle in here, and pictures of the plug where it plugs into the power pole, and just to verify that they weren't burnt up or abused. And then, no questions asked, they shipped us out another one. So great customer service on their part. We've had this replacement one now for about a year with no issues. All right, so there you have it. That is by no means a comprehensive list of everything that we bought to be set up, living full-time in our RV, but that's definitely some things that we've purchased that have 100% made our life so much easier.
Yes.
Some of them, like the surge protector, like the dehumidifier, that's making an investment into your home to keep it safe, to keep mold from growing with the dehumidifier, to keep any electrical issues happening with the surge protector. I mean, You know, everybody knows that RV parks and campgrounds, the electric service is not always that great. So having a way to protect your rig is imperative, very, very important.
Yes.
If you plan on dry camping, boondocking, the generator, the solar panels, very, very important. Do you absolutely need them? No, of course not. And your life will be so much better if you have those few items. Water filter, you know, saving so much money, not having to worry about buying bottled water. The Berkey
Yes.
water filter. We've been at parks that had well water. You could smell the sulfur in the water. We were a little skeptical. We went ahead and filled it up. We ran the water through the Berkey, and what come out the other side? There was no odor to the water. It looked great. It tasted great. No issues whatsoever.
Yeah, that was truly mind-boggling.
Yeah,
It smells for
Dylan
sure.
was not a fan. Dylan was not going to drink that water. All right, so I hope you guys found some value in this video. Maybe saw something that you were thinking about getting or thinking about putting on your list to pick up. Like we said, even if you're not full-time RVer, there's definitely some things in there that you could use, even if you just take your RV on vacations or on weekend trips, just to make things a little more comfortable while you're out there at the campground.
And Christmas is just around the corner, so put it on your list, have somebody else buy it for you.
That's right. Make your friends and family buy these things for you. All right, guys, we appreciate you watching, and we'll catch you guys down the road.